West Ham are back after a fantastic victory over bottom of the league Fulham, or second bottom of the league, is it?
Second bottom.
Second bottom, Fulham.
Yeah.
We travel all the way to the Etihad, Manchester City, midweek on Wednesday night. Manchester City coming off the first trophy of the season, playing 120 minutes, and they beat Chelsea in the League Cup. I'm joined by Stel, Matt and Luke. We are live. Get your comments in as we are going on. I'll throw this one to you, Luke. What's the impact of 120 minutes 3 days ago going to have on West Ham?
Any other team, and I'd be rolling my hands going, perfect, Fernandinho's injured, it's all looking good. But then you realise they've got probably about another 150 million worth of decent world-class players on the bench. It's like a conveyor belt of them for just world-class players. It doesn't really matter, to be fair. So if you've got Aguero, you'll have Jesus. If you haven't got, Sane, you've got Bernardo Silva. It's just fair enough. They played 120 minutes, but they probably Guardiola's probably trained them for that. So any other team, I'll be licking my lips. But Man City don't make a difference to me. For me personally.
Matt, you've seen some of the social media posts from Man City, and they were certainly enjoying a few drinks, maybe one or two if Pep's let them do it. So add to that equation, maybe a few of them have had a few drinks. Add to that equation, a couple of their players have got injured. Surely to God, am I traipsing at anything? Am I trying to claw at anything here, Matt?
Well, I think the thing is, like Luke said, you could literally rotate their entire 11 and you still have 11 world-class players on the pitch. Like, don't forget, he had Mahrez and Jesus on the bench on Sunday, and they didn't even come on. Like, they walk into anyone else's starting 11. Like, Fernandinho will be a big loss because he is like the linchpin of their midfield, and that is the only thing you can say. And Company did not look great at the back on Sunday when he came on for Laporte. He was slow as anything, so you couldn't get down the side of him. But in reality, they could swap. Barring the goalkeeper, they swap every single outfield player, and they probably still have a better team than we do.
Yeah. Stel, over to you. Thoughts on? Well, I mean, we've come off a decent victory against the second bottom of the league. Man City are going for the quadruple this year.
Yeah, we come off a victory off the second bottom of the league, and now we're going to play the second top of the league team. So it's all rosy, isn't it?
Are we?
But Maluk and Matt has said it all. You take off their front line that started against Chelsea on Sunday, and you just replace them with Jesus, Mahrez, and Sane. Fucking Sane's got 8 goals and 9 assists this season. He's probably started more games off the bench on the bench than he has, in the first 11. So they're both right. It doesn't matter who plays on Wednesday. And it absolutely matters not if they've played 120 minutes and have had a skinful that night as well. They'll still turn up and do pretty well against any team.
So I think, look, you've got some head-to-head stats, do you not?
Right. Okay.
Can you remember them?
If I've got this right, okay. Man City have beat us 54 times. They've drawn with us 17 times. And they've lost to us 37 times. Yeah. Now, let's be honest, that's before we got our wins, probably more likely before they got taken over. And we had one win against them or something while they've been taken over. So it doesn't make for great reading since Guardiola's taken all over. And that, probably pre-war times we went out and spanked them, fucking 3-0 and 4-0. So, but hopefully that breaks that duck. Been a while, let's do it again. Come on.
Matt, is this one of these games that, this is typical West Ham, we come up against the Chelseas, the Manchester Uniteds, the Liverpools, and we perform? Or is Man City to the next level? Have they gone levels above? Considering they're still sitting second in the league just now.
Yeah, anyone else, I suppose the only bonus we've got is at Man City. And we generally play better away. Our results have been awful the last 4 years against Man City, but they've been better at Man City than they have at home. Anyone else in the league, even Liverpool, I'd be like, yeah, we can turn up against them. But, we haven't beat City in 4 years. We just don't turn up against Man City.
What was the last victory, Matt? That was the last at Berlin, wasn't it?
2015, Victor Moses scored.
And Saka.
That was the last time we won. Victor Moses scored. Joe Hart was still playing a goal for Man City the last time we beat Man City.
Oh, God.
That's why they won.
But that tells you how long it's been. Like, it's Are
we being so negative? Like, have we got the right to be so negative?
Well, there's a bonus. It's Pellegrini's first Premier League return to the Etihad, and he might want to, turn one over on his old.
Saying that, there is a thing going around today. Apparently, he jokingly said in the press conference after the Fulham game, he said, "Oh well, if we can help Man City out win the league title, then we'll do everything possible."
What the fuck's that?
we've got someone else coming into Matt's screen here. We've got
there's a pitch invasion.
There's a pitch invasion. It's not like West Ham to have that, is it? Really?
No. Go on.
Sorry, Luke. Continue your point.
Oh, I was just saying about Pellegrini jokingly helping out Man City, so that's something to look forward to.
He won't do that.
If we let Abona score a few more own goals, then it gives still ammunition to give you shit about Wilson Reed, doesn't it, again? So, every cloud and all that. I'm being so depressing tonight.
You really are, by the way. You really fucking are. Listen, let's talk about West Ham Man City last year. I mean, everyone expected us to get absolutely smashed, and at the reverse fixture last year, we only got beat 2-1, and to be fair, West Ham were the better team most of the game until City kind of came into it, coming to the end. Matt, I mean, is there anything to take from that? I mean, Man City had a carbon copy, more or less, team out than what they can provide this time.
I mean, like I said, we seem to play better at Man City. It's just a case of, I mean, let's be honest. If we defended like we did in the first 10 minutes against Fulham, we'll be 4-0 down in 10 minutes, and the game will be over again.
Yeah,
we've got to turn up. They're missing, I'd say, their best centre back and their holding midfielder, so that gives you some thing, because their midfield is far weaker than Fernandinho, isn't it? So that is a chance we've got. We're set up as a team better to play on the counter attack, so again that sort of plays in our hands. I mean, I'd be happy with a draw.
Yeah,
but it's just let's be honest, they are levels above everyone else in the league, maybe barring Liverpool.
Still,
I think they're even above Liverpool. I think they're even above Liverpool in my opinion.
Well, still,
even though the league doesn't say it.
Some stats for you though, like they've played 27 games. I mean, that's compared to this time last year. They've won 21, and they've lost 4 this season already.
Massive 4.
Yeah, but compared to last season, still, I mean, Man City have lost games this year. They've conceded 20, albeit it's not a lot, but. That's a goal a game, so hopefully we could maybe contribute that. But the frightening stat, you ready for this frightening stat? They have scored 74 goals. Yeah.
They've scored over 100 goals in all competitions already this season.
Yeah,
that's frightening.
Sergio Aguero comes in with 17 in the league. Sterling with 12 in the league. Sané with 8 in the league. Sané, like you said, Stell's assisted 9. Raheem Sterling's assisted 9. There's goals and assists all over that side.
I think there's a hint that it might not be a 0-0 draw on Wednesday.
No. The hint is that will be with 0-0 draw. That is exactly it. They've scored enough goals. They don't need to score anymore. It's fine. They might win 1-0 actually. Just win it dirty, like Leicester did a few years back.
But the point you made about last season's game, we were actually quite unfortunate. That was the when Rice ducked. For one of their goals, was that right?
We went 1-0 up.
Game.
Yeah,
we went 1-0 up. De Bruyne made 2 world class crosses, didn't he? And they scored 2 goals.
And they scored, and that was when Declan Rice really, really showed his ability in that game.
Yeah, but we were unlucky. There's no saying that we can't go out there and give them a game of it. That's the beauty of football, isn't it? Everybody's saying that we're going to get absolutely slaughtered. The stats that you just mentioned seem to imply that they're going to walk all over us. And yet, what Matt said a moment ago, we play better at their ground than we do at our own ground. They seem to love our stadium, knocking in 4 past us every single time, or 5 or whatever. Who's to say? We've got a better squad than last season. So we've got an attacking force. Luke just mentioned, we're better on the counter attack. With the likes of if you didn't, someone did. If Anderson plays to his best game, if Arnautovic who's probably going to start, plays to his abilities, then who knows? Who knows?
Do we think that if there's any manager, though, that's going to do something against City, it's going to be Pellegrini, not just for the fact he's returning against his old club, but the fact that he's making big changes at our club? Over to you, Luke.
Hey, so I zoned out there.
For fuck's sake.
So I've got things going on tonight. Sorry, this is
I
said. I apologise for that again.
I said, you know, is there any manager?
You don't know what you said, did you? As you've forgotten yourself.
A manager that's potentially going to do something against City, albeit the fact that he is returning to his old club. Is it going to be someone like Pellegrini who's obviously there changing things at West Ham, investing the money, changing the mentality?
Yeah, if there's any manager who's going to say, let's outscore the opposition, let's try and get more goals than they would, then it would be Pellegrini. And at the same time, you've got to kind of respect that. But then this is the same manager that I think chose Masuaku at left back when Sterling had the best game of his life, the easiest game of his life since he joined City. So it doesn't give you much hope. But I think it was the game against Wolves or one of the two where we could have played three in the middle and he decided to play two in midfield. And you know, while that's, you know, all good to try and surprise maybe the team, it depends whether the players want it as well, because you can put out a decent team and then the players can lose their bollocks within the first 10 minutes or whatever, and it'll go pear-shaped. So, in my opinion, personally, I'd love him to just go, let's just go for it, because if we park the bus, we'll probably concede a load of goals. But then another part of me thinking, it's just one of them games where I'm not really counting it, if you know what I mean. Like, go for it, have a good go. But if we lose 4-0, we lose 4-0. Do you know what I mean? It's just we just move on to the next game against Newcastle at the weekend, because this is the one game I'm looking at within the next 7 games. I think, it's a clean hit. I don't really mind, you know, the players play shit. But if we put out a good team, then I'd like to see Hernandez and Arnie up front, because whether we like it or not, Hernandez might have scored by a hand, still counted, still scored a goal. Arnie come on, made an assist, so they both done their job Friday night. So if you're going to change it around, I'll put them two up front. That's just what I do, but I'm not Pellegrini, am I? So.
Matt, you mentioned earlier on Laporte is injured, Fernandinho is injured. Company's just coming back from a long time out. This will be what I believe is his second start in a row. Potentially, is that too much? Does he have to play him in that position? I mean, can we not take some positives from the fact that, you know, City have lost games this year? They've had a big amount of game time in the week. They're playing week in and week out. They have got a bit of an injury issue, albeit, yes, I know they're a world-class squad. I mean, Laporte is a big miss.
Well, yeah, as I said, I think he's probably been their best centre-back this year. So they're missing their best centre-back, and they're really their main holding midfielder. You know, Company played, I think he came on in the first half. He came on in the midweek away in Schalke. He come on. So this is really like his third game in a week. And for a guy that's not played as much as he has this year, it could be a lot of work for him. But, you know, Pep's full of surprises. He might turn up to us and go, oh, Sodiq will play three at the back, and he might play Kyle Walker in the back three. You know, he's done that already this season.
Yeah.
They've got the ability to change players, and it doesn't really affect their system.
Yeah.
The one thing they've got is that they're missing Fernandinho, and they don't have really another guy that can play that role. Essentially, especially not as well as he has.
Yeah.
So that is something you can look at, that their midfield is very lopsided in attack.
It's funny you struggle to say there's a weakness there.
Really
it's
Delph,
really struggle.
I think
he's injured as well, mate. He's out.
I think maybe Delph, he's out as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else plays home midfield for them. He could maybe try Danilo. He's only got those two players. So yeah, the midfield's going to be something we can definitely look at attacking.
Yeah.
It just depends whether we want it or not, because they're not great defensively. Like, you can get at their back four or back three, whichever way they play.
Saying all that, when Fernandinho was out, they lost their games this season at home. So there is of course to say there that we can go out and give them a game and can win the game. If it's a possibility, no team's unbeatable.
Yeah.
So if we won it or not, we've got the right cojones.
But to be fair, I mean, Man City aren't particularly playing that great over the last few games, but they're still grinding out results. Anyway, we have spoken enough about Manchester City. Still, let's talk about our beloved West Ham. We've seen us win 3-1 against second at the bottom of the league, but if you take the first 5 minutes into consideration, against the likes of Manchester City, we would have been down 3-0. What does Pellegrini do? What does he take from that game? How does he progress forward coming up against the likes of Manchester City?
I think he already made that decision, didn't he, at half time? Because he brought Zabaleta off and put Fredericks on, which gave us a little bit more pace and a little bit more threat against Fulham. Zabaleta, did that awful back pass, really lackadaisical back pass that Fulham could have scored from within the first minute or so, and then it was kind of a mixture of him and our central defenders weren't good enough for their actual goal, and I think Pellegrini's already picked up on that, and that's why he probably brought Fredericks on. So I think it's interesting. It's going to be, I think, like Luke said, why not go for it? We know that they're an attacking force, so we can take a lot from what we did against Fulham on Friday night. In the past, if we went a goal down, our heads would have dropped. We've seen it. We've seen it several times over in the past. We go a goal down, especially at home, especially last season, and we used to fold. Whereas this season we've got that bit more resilience. There's a belief there. Even in the crowd itself, we went a goal down, but it wasn't like anyone was panicking. It was like, oh fuck, they just scored. All right, let's carry on with the game. And I know it was early, but even if that was, say, at half time or whatever, I think what Pellegrini has done is changed the mentality of the team. Yeah. You could see it in the way they hold themselves, in the way that when they do go a goal down, they're not thinking like what's happened in the past. We're thinking, all right, you've gone a goal up, the opposing team. We're going to go and try and get one off you. Now, different story with City. If we go a goal down against City, and we try and force the issue, within minutes they could be 2 goals up. So we have to be careful, but we can counter attack them. And it's you guys have just mentioned Fernandinho in the middle, and where we could get at them in the middle of the park. That depends on who plays for us in the middle of the park as well. Because if they put like 4, really shit, I ain't going to say it, no, don't worry, Luke. But if they put 4 shit hot striking midfielders, forwards, etc., they can outrun our midfield pretty easily. And Declan Rice will have a hell of a job to keep them at bay. But we can take an awful lot from what we've done throughout the season and what we did on Friday.
Probably
doesn't matter whether they were second from bottom.
Probably one of the quietest players on Friday, in my opinion, would have been Snodgrass. Look, before we came on, you spoke about, Arnie came on, he played well, Chicharito got a goal. I mean, is there method in madness in Pellegrini with the madness for choosing, potentially, shaking things up a bit?
I was surprised that he took off Anderson and put Lanzini on. I would have liked to have seen a combination between Anderson and Lanzini, and Snodgrass stayed on. I was surprised about that because as much as I love Snodgrass, I don't think he even played badly. There wasn't anything from him to go, well, he deserves to stay on. Anderson was making a run. He was a constant threat down the left-hand side. It was a bit of a shaky one, but it's weird against Man City because you kind of go, well, do you need the robust, workhorse, dog-like approach that Snodgrass has got, or do you go for the more technical ability-wise in Anderson and Lanzini-like? But I can see the sort of more or less, in my opinion, the same sort of team will start, but you'll see earlier subs maybe, so Arnie might come in at half-time for Hernandez, and Lanzini might get a bit more, maybe like 10 minutes more than he got on Friday night, but... it was a kind of a strange substitution, but I can't see him changing a lot of things. But I think you might find a few subs being made earlier, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Do you have any kind of counter points to that, Matt? Do you agree with that? I mean, if we're talking about, that was me particularly talking about one area of the park in the midfield. So let's just continue with the midfield. We've got Lanzini back. He came on. He actually did look decent in the 15 minutes. Now, I'm not by no means whatsoever saying we start him because I don't think we will. But
no, he won't.
But we've got players coming back. You looked at our bench in the week on Friday, and for the first time in a long time, I looked at it and I went, "Oh, that's looking all right." And then there's other news coming out of the club today saying Balbuena's back training, Reed's back training. We know that Yarmolenko's on his way back. We know players are on their way back, and it's such an important time for West Ham to potentially. I mean, it feels like Pellegrini's got the opportunity potentially to start experimenting again. Does he continue to do that, Matt?
I think, like Luke said, I don't think there's going to be many changes from the game against Fulham on Friday. We essentially had 2 extra days rest.
I want to quickly add one player to that, Samir Nasri.
I think Kim, like Lanzini's just coming back from injury. He's a bit further along than Lanzini. But obviously he didn't even come off the bench on Friday. Lanzini was here and it was like, no, Lanzini's the option. It's not Nasri. Could you start him against Man City? If he's fit, maybe. But I think realistically, I think the only change you'll see from the starting lineup that started on Friday would be that I think Fredericks will start the game.
Fredericks for Zabaleta.
Yeah,
still,
because of the pace. I mean, pace is frightening.
Still, I was standing beside you with it.
Agree.
Go for it.
I think Fredericks will start.
Yeah.
But I think there's a potential reason he brought Anderson off. It's to rest him. Because we've got the game on Wednesday, and that only just came to my mind. Because I agree with Luke. I thought it was a bit of a strange sub, but then when you think about it, he wasn't injured. He wasn't carrying a knock or anything. So there's a chance that he thought, well, I'll rest him. And I actually think there'll be changes up front as well. I actually, despite Hernandez scoring, I actually think Arnautovic will start, and I think there's a potential that. Nasri, if he is fit,
I agree with you. I think Nasri will
because he, we just said, he brought Lanzini on. He favoured Lanzini over Nasri. Well, he's rested Nasri as well in a roundabout sort of way. And the best place for Lanzini to come on was at home, and the reception he got, the applause, the cheer, the adulation. It would have boosted Lanzini's ego. Really made him put in that extra 10%. Which he did on Friday. He looked good, but it's early doors. So I reckon we will see changes. I reckon Snodgrass will be dropped, and I reckon Hernandez will be dropped as well as Zabaleta, and you'll see Fredericks, Nasri, and Arnautovic start.
Yeah, I mean,
do you? Oh, sorry.
Go for it. No, go for it.
Go on, Luke.
Do you think Zabaleta will be dropped? Or do you think because of Man City, the ex-Man City thing, he'll get a start and then he'll come off like Friday?
I've got a strange feeling he'll be dropped and he might come on later. Yeah.
I think it works better, to be honest. I mean, I think I was talking to you still during the game, and there was a couple of times that Fredericks' pace, you cannot even remotely deny it, and he came back a couple of times and saved us from them, coming forward.
The tackle early in the second half, where he made up so much pace.
Yeah.
And he got the ball clean, and it was in the box as well. And that could have gone badly wrong.
And with all the options that Manchester City have got, I think it's an absolute no-brainer that Fredericks is going to start against City. And like you guys have said, I think there's definitely a place for Zabaleta in the squad. But if it's going to be Fredericks moving forward, then I would absolutely take Zabaleta coming on for the last 10-15 minutes to try and close up shop, because he's got that ability, and he offers us something a bit different. But when it comes to the Nasri situation, I do think, like you said, Stel, I do think there's a bit of bringing Lanzini on at home. And let's not get it wrong, Lanzini was, in my opinion, again, a lot of people were really worried and thought we'll just get him up to match fitness. He didn't look out of sorts whatsoever. He got the ball.
Not at all.
I don't even think he made a mistake. He looked really, really confident on the ball.
He looked confident to a point. There was a moment he was just inside the box and he could have
whacked
a shot first. Could have whacked and he hesitated. But yeah, you're right. He's been out for so long, but yet he looked like he hadn't been away.
Yeah, at that point in the game, I just felt like West Ham were maybe trying to do a bit of the old ticky-tack football and trying to walk the ball into the back of the net, because if you remember, the crowd were getting right up behind the side. There was a decent atmosphere in every attack that was happening, so the players were probably feeding off that and thinking, we can just walk this ball into the back of the net. And like you said, still opportunities, instead of just smashing them into the back of the net, they tried to walk it in. One of you going to say something there?
Saying about Anderson, you're saying about resting him. Yeah. I did see a stat this morning. I think he's the only outfield player that's started every single game this season.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well. Yeah,
I think it's only him. The only guys that started every single game is him and Fabianski.
Yeah,
There you go. You know, and I think you know, we've been, you know, we've been waxing lyrical about Man City and how devastating they are going forward. I'll tell you what, lads, you know, with the players we've got, we're going to be envied outside the top.
Oh, don't start this.
I'm serious, mate. I'm serious. We're going to be envied, especially when we add to the front line next season, when we get a shit-hot striker. You know, but look.
Look. To counteract that, why are you saying don't start? Just go for it. Let us know.
Because whenever anyone starts to say that, the god or the devil cursor, per injuries, mystic god, whatever there is, goes, and they're all fucked. And we just
that's the old. That's the David Moyes, Slaven Bilic, Gianfranco Zola, Avram Grant's opinion, mate.
Moyes.
Yeah.
Not only that.
That's the old fan mindset.
Pellegrini goes, I'll sign Yarmolenko. Just starting to look the business, and he goes, I know what. Lanzini's got an ACL injury. I'll join him on the side bench for 9 months as well. And it's not only that, it's one of them things where we could probably have all our team fully flipped out there. But again, this season we've had the opportunity to go 7th about 4 or 5 times this season. Almost the same amount of times that Tottenham have had chances to go top and bottled it. And it almost feels like any chance we get to go to the top, we all go, oh no, we're still a relegation team. No, we can't go 7th. We're too scared. We're too dizzy. Think we've got an injury, or the team are just starting to, the opposition just starting to find their form in time. So, still, I totally agree with you on paper. I totally agree with you, media. Like, you know, it'd be fantastic. But this is West Ham, and any time we ever start to go,
that's the old West Ham, Luke.
But you say
it's the old West Ham, Luke, and we're all. You know, we've all been conditioned. We've all been conditioned. Hang on. We've all been conditioned to think that way, and I agree with you. But this feels different, you know. And I know we've had bad luck with injuries. You know, you're right about Yarmolenko, and then there's Wiltshire, and then Nasri's come and gone, and then Lanzini and all that. Yeah, bloody plethora of them. But you know, mate.
listen. Hold on. I thought that until Wimbledon went. No, we'd rather get knocked out by Millwall in the cup.
Yeah. And
it was like,
but look at the players that are on the
West
pitch.
Ham. There you are, West Ham.
Half those players didn't want to be there. Don't want to be there. They don't want to leave.
To add to that argument, right? The biggest progression for me this season is the results we've had in and around the teams that we are expected to be challenging for trying to get into the top 10. So you look at, you know, apart from the fact, you know, at the start of the season we would have predicted Fulham had a better run at things, so we beat them 3-1. Then you've got to go a little bit further back when you get to Brighton 2 each. We beat Southampton away 2-1. We beat Fulham. We went on that run. We beat Crystal Palace. We beat Cardiff. We beat Newcastle. We beat Burnley.
Lost to Bournemouth.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. But my point is, there's method in what I'm trying to say, because the old West Ham would not have probably got or grinded out results like we have done in the past.
You're absolutely right.
There is a mentality there.
We've done well against the top teams. We've done well against the bottom teams. It's the teams around us who are as hungry as we are, or hungrier than us, that we can't beat.
Yeah.
And that's what Pellegrini's got to get right. You know,
we have a weakness against physical teams. That's the problem. If you look at the teams we lost to, teams that get up and in us, we've become like, obviously under Allardyce,
we become like Arsenal under Wenger.
Like fucking feisty giants, weren't we? Under Allardyce,
I wouldn't mind being like Arsenal under Wenger, mate. If we get in the top 4, top 5.
But yeah, no, we can't handle teams.
But I know what you're saying, Luke. I know what you're saying. It's like we've lost our.
Well, you know what? If we ever do turn into Arsenal against under Wenger, this will turn into the West Ham fan TV, the Arsenal fan TV was, and people will be coming on here just to see us go, blood, we're shit, blood, we're shit, fam. You know, what's Pellegrini doing, blood? You know, Anderson's a ham roll.
Right, listen, we've spoke quite a lot on the game.
Shit, fuck all.
Let's just get straight onto it. I've asked everyone, there's been quite a lot of comments in there, quite a lot of live comments. People are saying a 2-0 loss. Dap Ablo is saying a 2-1 win to West Ham. People are thinking that Zabaleta's going to start over Fredericks. So
You're making all this up. There's not talking at all. There's no comments whatsoever. No one's watching this.
People are saying.
We're talking to ourselves.
People are saying that Winston Reid will be the saviour for the season. Ogbonna needs to leave this summer. Fandangos has come in and said 3-0 to Man City, but he would because he's Mr. Negative. Forever is coming in saying, will Anton predict another 3-0 away win like he did at Newcastle, and got it right, thanks Forever. But we'll come on to the predictions now.
And it was nice to meet him on
good
Friday night.
Good to meet you on Friday night, mate. Make sure you come back. Anyone else that's interested, make sure you get along to the Supporters Club. Just get in contact with us. We'll let you know where it is. Fandangles is writing some really disappointing information on the chat, so we'll just won't repeat that.
Do you know what? You do more plugging on this channel than an electrician. So you should get paid for the amount of plugs you do.
So let's just get straight into it. Predictions. Look, over to you.
I think I should go now. Actually, I'd save my prediction. I'm gonna say 2-1 West Ham.
Naughty.
Yeah, because I thought we'd get whacked like 4-5-0 last season. We went up there, and I thought we'd beat him at home this season. So I predicted hopefully it'll be the. I'll get it right this time without Fernandinho, with the fact that they're leggy after the cup final. I'm going to say goal for Arnie if he plays, just because he's a bastard and he's got it in him. And maybe an own goal by Company, and then a goal for
the Winston Reid of
an own goal for Ogbonna.
Yeah. And I might even put a bet on that, as I'm so confident, apparently.
Matt, over to you.
I'm confidently saying a 1-1. I'd be happy to get out there with a draw. I'll take a point right now. If you said we'd have a 1-1 at the end of the game, I'll be like, yeah, done. They give me it now. I'd like to see it being someone like Ogbonna scoring. I'd be like, we'll get what? He scored like there last year, didn't he? He scored from a corner.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I think that's going to be it. I think it'll be set pieces. At the end of the game, we're going to score from a set piece.
If Ogbonna scores the winning goal, you do the next show naked.
Listen.
I want to see that.
Listen, I support.
Right, he'll be the only one doing the show.
Support every single West Ham player that plays, whether they're shit or not.
So full of
Ogbonna was. I'll tell you something right now. Ogbonna was at fault for Babel scoring the other night. People are going to try and say to me it was Creswell. It was not fucking Creswell.
No, it wasn't. It was Zabaleta.
It wasn't Zabaleta. It was 100% Ogbonna. And he was at fault for the other opportunity that Babel had. Anyway.
Yeah, and he set up the handball. So anyway.
By trying to clear the ball.
Two things, right? If he does this naked, right, there's going to be a bruise where he tries to lift you up still and he pulled his nut out on his chest because he's such a delicate flower. And second of all, I guarantee when Ogbonna scored that goal and Anton was in the crowd, but everyone else is jumping around going, we scored, he turned around and went, Reid would have done that.
It's exactly what he would have done.
It's not in my fucking genes, mate. Anyway, Stell, let's get on to your crazy prediction, you crazy man.
I'm hovering between a 3-2 West Ham or a 2-2. So it won't be either of them, will it?
Goal scorers?
2-2. Goal scorers, Anderson and Arnautovic.
Right, happy days.
And if we do win 3-2, obviously Ogbonna gets the winner.
Yes, come on, Oggy. Oi. I'm going to go for, I can't join you. Look, I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham. So, that's what I want to say, but I'm going to say 1-0 to West Ham. But I think they're going to score goals. So,
fucking hell, what have you been drinking tonight?
So we've all just come on here and been really depressive for like half an hour, and no one said we're going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one said we're going to lose.
That's the new West Ham.
That's
what Pellegrini's instilled in us. We think like a big team. We'll play like a big team, and we'll win like a big team.
Yeah.
Pellegrini lover over here.
Listen. thanks very much for joining us for a live one tonight. It's been a rather weird one, to say the least. Just make sure we are back in the side. Let's hope that some or any West Ham fan turns up on the night, because it looks like there's plenty of tickets going around for anyone to snap them up. It reminds
There's a few going, mate. There's a few that have picked them up on the ticket group.
It reminds me of the old days of West Ham when not many people used to travel away. So let's just see if we can keep up the away travel and go that way. Make sure you get your comments in. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you look at the recent shows. Alf's put out a couple of grumbles. He's put out a West Ham Oi Oi show. I think there's a preview show coming out from Richard tomorrow where he just takes a look at Manchester City, a little bit of the history between the two sides, and we'll be back with a review on the night. Fingers crossed West Ham can get a result. Make sure you follow all the guys on social media. He's been Luke, he's been Matt, he's been Stel, I've been Anton. This is Irons United. Come on, you Irons.